Want to know the best tool to zoom into portions of your screen while you're web streaming, teaching, or presenting online or in person? Some of the tools that the pros use to do this? Well, the best news is it's free and works on just about any version of Windows. Let's go.
Well, it's become pretty common to really quickly zoom in and out on a camera using tools like OBS. Sometimes you need to zoom in on your screen itself to really point out a specific line of text, a button, or something else that you see that might be tough for your viewer to be able to spot. This kind of zooming and any annotations that you might try to do in OBS in real time are pretty limited and also pretty manual. The free tool that you really want to use is called ZoomIt, and it's from Sysinternals. Now, if you're in IT, you'll probably know about Sysinternals and the connection with Mark Russinovich, the CTO of Azure, and you should memorize the URL to really download all the Sysinternals tools easily, which is live.sysinternals.com. And these are all free tools that each deserve a video, to be honest. But I'll do some of these in the future, but today I'm going to actually scroll all the way down and grab ZoomIt64.exe, the 64-bit version. Now it's a small file, so it'll just take a second to download, and I'll go ahead and open it. First, at the bottom of the menu, I like to show the tray icon and put it in my system tray so I can make sure that it's running. And I can also run ZoomIt by default when Windows starts, also a good option. Now here in the first tab you can see Control 1 is the default for zooming, but it of course can be changed if you want another key. This can also be programmed, by the way, into, for example, an Elgato Stream Deck pretty easily as a dedicated button. And you can specify the default zoom level with this slider. You know, I happen to like 2x zoom if you're zoomed in, but you can also move up and down the arrows and zoom in and out even more with those arrow keys. By the way, you need to close the options window when you're using ZoomIt, so I'll close it here and I'll show you just what it looks like on the Sysinternals page here. And I'm going to move the crosshairs where I want it, and then I can hit the up and down arrow and I can go further and further and further into around 600% zoom. And then you can click right on your mouse or hit the escape key and go back to an interactive unzoomed desktop. So that's basic zooming, but one thing to note with basic zooming is that the screen is going to pause while you zoom in. This is good for something like this, you know, where it's a static screen, but if it's a video or something else, it's going to actually run behind it, but pause and freeze frame that screen when you zoom into it, but everything behind it continues to run. Now, if you want to see the screen that is updating itself in real time, you can use something called LiveZoom. By default, that uses the Control+4 key combination, as you can see here. Now let me show you how you'd use this. So let's say you want to highlight your frames per second on a game while it's changing, or you're replaying part of your game, a replay. The font is too small to see like you can see here, so just by hitting the Control+4 key and then moving your cursor to the corner where your FPS text is, you can see it change and the background video is still working. But if I want to use basic zooming with the Control+1 option I showed first, that video will pause and I can see my FPS numbers here also freeze. And this might be better, you know, for what I'm going to talk about next, which is screen annotation. So this works, by the way, with or without zooming in. If you hit Control+2, that actually lets you annotate on an unzoomed screen at the normal size. So let me show you the options here on the screen. So I'm going to draw a few red lines, and I can erase the last line, for example, hitting Control-Z, or erase everything using the E key, and I'm going to exit drawing mode. And if you're zoomed in, just left-click your mouse or the trackpad, and that puts you into drawing mode. To clean up your annotations, there are specific keys really to make cleaner lines. So Shift, for example, will give you a straight line if you hold that down while drawing the line, and that's great for underlining text. You can hold the Control key down, and that's going to let you draw rectangles around text or objects. I probably use this one the most. And then you can use Control+Shift to create arrows, and that starts with a pointy end as you draw out the tail end of the arrow. And the Tab key will also let you draw an ellipse or circle around something. Now red is the default, and it tends to be my go-to color, but you can also use G for green, B for blue, O for orange, Y for yellow, and P for pink. You just press any of those keys while you're drawing, and it will change the ink color to that. Now let's say that you want to add some text while you're zooming in and drawing on the screen. Well, that works too. So if you hit the T key while you're in drawing mode, then you can write things on the screen. Let me show you how that works. So I'm going to highlight one of my favorite tools, Auto Runs, in red here, then hit T and write a note here about this being a great tool for finding malware that automatically loads during boot. And then I'm going to go ahead and highlight another favorite here, BG Info, which is great for identifying server or client VMs that have GUIs. If you're not familiar with BG Info, it actually changes your desktop background with an image that has text of different system information components like you can see here. And just for completeness of the ZoomIt tour, the last tab has a timer for a break if you use the Control+3 key. And by default, that's set to 10 minutes. So this is great for presenting things like hands-on labs or teaching, where you want to give your students some time to finish a task or also take a short break. It's a super basic countdown clock, and it's probably something that I would use OBS for if you're doing things like web streaming and already have OBS running and you want to infuse a bit more design into your presentations. It's probably a better tool. So that was a quick tour of the free tool called ZoomIt from Sysinternals, and it's not a new tool, but it seems to be something that IT professionals and things like conference speakers know a lot about, but web streamers or teachers probably don't so much because there's not a huge overlap between the two groups of IT pros and conference speakers and teachers. So one more pro tip I have though related to your cursor. One thing I see a lot when presenting live or recording demos is excessive cursor movement to point out something, and once you see that behavior, you can't unsee it. And let me show you what I mean. So here, I really want to call your attention to a few tools in Sysinternals, so I rapidly underline or circle them and do that again and again across other tools, and then finally to the URL, and I really want you to see it. And this is all pretty jarring for the audience, and it looks very rookie-ish in my opinion, so you don't ever want to do this. Now that you know how to use ZoomIt, you can use that tool instead. So I'm going to highlight a few tools here, then I will highlight the URL, where to find them. See how much easier it is to follow and how much nicer that is to watch. And it's a free tool. It works on just about any version of Windows, but I do recommend that you practice before getting in front of a group of people and using it, or just start simple and then add things like drawing, colors, text annotations, and other things over time. It'll take a few presentations before you get the hang of it and start presenting like Mark Rusinovich does using this tool during his presentations, but with a little practice, you will get there.
So that was a quick tour of Sysinternals ZoomIt. Again, a free tool that works on just about any version of Windows. If you like this video, please hit like. Also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And thank you so much for watching.